everyone. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to our second episode of the Mental Health Month. For this episode, we'll be talking about a very, very popular subject, but nobody talks about very often, which is anxiety. Yeah. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this will be our talk about how to deal with anxiety, what a person feels when he's moving away from home, and we'll share some of our experiences with how we overcame anxiety, or we're still working through it. It's a constant journey.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How would you define anxiety? What is anxiety? Everyone says, oh, I have an anxiety. What is it? How do you define an anxiety?
I feel like there's a lot of ways that you can define anxiety, but as to my understanding, it's not being able to think things through. When you're put in a stressful situation, when you are moving abroad, when you are dealing with losing a loved one, or a natural emotional response when you're placed in a stressful situation or like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think to another word, I would say anxiety is not being able to be in present.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, anxiety
Yes, yeah.
is something that happens if you think a lot about your future too much or about the past too much.
Yeah.
Something that you cannot change very much, you know?
Yeah.
So I think anxiety is not being in present state of mind.
That's exactly true. Yeah. Constantly overthinking and worrying about things that have not happened yet.
Yeah.
True. Exactly. Yeah. And I feel that's a lot of people. It's people overgeneralize anxiety. But yeah, it's something that people, as immigrants, feel when they're moving in a new place, because they're uncertain of how things will look like when they move to a new country abroad, and then they also don't have a solid support system, and yeah, it comes with a lot of mental health issues, which they don't talk about, right?
Yeah. I also think that anxiety is a roller coaster of emotion, because there's no because anxiety itself is not an emotion.
Yeah.
Right? There are so many different emotions that can happen while having an anxiety.
True.
So yeah, so basically anxiety is a mix of emotions, a roller coaster of all emotions coming in together, or
right.
even one specific emotion overflowing.
Yes.
Basically, right?
Yeah, it's this fear of being, because I feel when we move to a new country abroad, as an immigrant, or as an expat who's working in a new place, they feel they're living in this different two worlds, because you come from a different culture where you can't detach yourself, because you're still a part of that culture, right? You grew up in that culture, you are a part of that world, and then you suddenly move to a different world, and then you're trying to assimilate into that new culture. So it's they're living in two worlds, and then there's sort of time warp,
Yeah.
I came from that, I can't leave that, but I want to be a part of this too. So how do I navigate between those two worlds, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. How would you say how was your anxiety level? I don't want to say level, because I don't want to give a number or anything like that. But how would you say how was your anxiety when you first? Well, let's say when you got your visa. Ooh. I think that's when it actually starts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I was really excited when I got my visa. Nervous, excited, scared, because I wanted to move to the US for studies.
Yeah.
And I got my visa, so I was okay, excited, overwhelmed, but also scared, because I had to leave my parents. I had to leave my home that I spent 18 years growing up. So it was a mix of feelings, like you said, and the day I went to the airport and then, had to say goodbye to my parents, I didn't cry, and I saw my mom, wiping her
Oh,
tears.
that's so emotional.
And I was okay, don't look, you're gonna cry, because I tried to be strong and hold back tears, but then when I landed in Abu Dhabi, UAE, I was like, oh my god, because I was all alone. You know, I had like 2-hour transit, so I was like, that's the moment that hit. Oh, I'm finally away from my family, parents, and then I'm going to this new, you know, journey. Like I will be a free bird, and like I have to navigate everything by myself. So yeah, how about you?
I think for me, it didn't hit me until like I actually got to Missouri. So when I first flew from Nepal, I went to Thailand, and then from Thailand I went to
Thailand.
Yeah, my transit was in Thailand, and then I went to California first for my aunt's house. It wasn't scary, you know, because I was going to like a relative's house. It felt everything was new. It felt kind of like I was on vacation type, and you know, once I reached Missouri, then like that's the time when I had to like start looking for a job, because you know, like every time you call parents, like, your parents are worried about you too, that you're about your finances. So they're gonna keep asking you like, hey, like any of it, like, yeah, you're good, you're settled, you're good there, yeah, that's good, but what about the job? Have you started looking? That's when it hit me, like, you know, it was so tough to find a job, and then my anxiety level went up so bad. I was so scared. I don't know, like all I was thinking was like thinking I wasn't in the current state, you know, instead of like doing one thing at a time, I feel like I was thinking more about the future. Like, you know.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, like you said, you know how when you went to Missouri and then started looking for jobs, that's when the real anxiety comes in. That's, yeah. When I went to Texas for my summer break, and then I had to, like, you know, stay with my friends, but also look for a job. That's also when I thought, oh, you know, like this is not only about your studies. You have to like work for yourself and then fund yourself and like have to look for jobs. And like you said, you know, we went out there, we put ourselves in like uncomfortable situations, like speaking up for ourselves, like asking for jobs and going to places that we've never thought we would be in, right? But yes, I feel like that's also so true. Like you have to go into places and find parts of yourself, you know, that you've never thought. Because I never imagined I would be here, you know, like doing this kind of stuff. So it really took us a long time to settle in and be courageous, you know. Yeah,
it's also because like in Nepal we were so little when we got here, right? I know, I guess like younger than us, they do come here too, but for us in our family at least, right, we were like the youngest ones who moved abroad, I would say, right? So it was challenging. There was like a lot of, not a pressure, nobody actually put pressure on us saying that you have to do this, you have to do that. It was just ourselves putting like pressure on ourselves. That hey, I need to do this. I feel like it came more out of like us thinking what's gonna happen like 10 years after. I think that's what it is.
Exactly. And same with you know, like having, because when you're in a university you have to like navigate your journey as a student, you know, as a foreign student, like learn the language. You want to like take part in like these activities, like making friends, but you don't know their culture, so you have to like go on and like be a part of new clubs, and also like ask questions in the, you know, class where you don't know anyone, and then you're scared of a lot of things, you know. You're scared if people are going to make fun of you, if people are going to make fun of your accent, if people are going to think you're, I don't know, a lot of, you know, criticizing things that come from our head, you know. And honestly, most people don't care, you know. They're living their life, and so I feel like that's one of the things that was hard to learn. And also we have a lot of pressure to maintain our like credits, you know, like while maintaining our social life, and I don't know how people do that, and I don't know how students do that, but you know, it's a lot of like balance, social life, work life, study life, and
I think most of it is actually like possible, just being present in the moment. That helps you a lot. Unlike like, you know, instead of like you just started a class and you're always already thinking about, oh, if I fail I'm gonna be like, you know, out of status or something, you know. But that's like, you're not even there yet. Like why are you even like worried about that, right?
How did you deal with that, you know, like saying, you know, like did you have like a lot of Nepalese associations, clubs, or like people to connect to when you first started your school in Missouri?
We did have a Nepali association. Yes, we do. I think they're still on my Facebook actually. But as nice as it was, like, you know, to be around Nepali community, I don't think it helped me very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? How was your university?
Yeah, totally agree. Like, in Mississippi, I feel like we had a lot of people, you know, like brothers and sisters trying to help us, and it did help to some degree. Um, yeah, but there was kind of like I wouldn't say like groupism, but you know, there's, I mean, certain people have their opinions, you know.
Yeah.
So, but you just need to find your tribe who.
I think some people just got along.
Yeah, some people. Yeah.
But I do want to say there were a couple people who actually did make like a lot of impact on my life. Actually, yeah, they helped me a lot. Even like just like a simple smile or something, you know, it made me feel like, oh, there are other people, you know. Yeah, we had our I don't know if it's called captain or like, you know, somebody like in charge of the group. That person, he was like actually really, really helpful too. Yeah, but there were people like who existed and not existed, like didn't make any difference too.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that stood out to me was like, you need, when you actually know people, you know, it helps you. It's like your network is your net worth, you know. When you know people, like they can provide you with like resources, and then they can connect you to other people who might give you a job or no opportunities. You know, that's how like I got my first job in the university, and then it was really nice to have that experience, you know. Even though I lived in Mississippi, and then that experience helped me when I moved to Texas, and you know, you can carry those skills. But yeah, it definitely pays to know people and like open your mouth. You need to ask for help, right? Nothing is given to you. Like,
I think most of the part could also be because of me, because I wasn't that open before, you know. I was like, I'm mostly on the shy end, so it takes me a little longer to get to like open up to people. Maybe because of that too. And then I was only there for 6 months, you know, so I wouldn't, you know, blame anyone or anything rather than myself. But yeah,
true. And then did you notice like any difference in your, you know, mental health or like the practices you were doing when you moved from Missouri to California, right? Did you live anywhere in between or no?
I was actually in Houston for 1 month.
Oh.
It was, you know, I actually had to travel 1 full hour. It was like 1.5 hour to go, because we were in this place called Cypress, and then the job I worked was in Houston downtown. And the Houston traffic is something that you do not want to mess with. It was just like way too long traffic, like 30 times I think California. It's so bad. It's just not doable. But yeah, every day we used to spend like 3 hours. No, there was this uncle that helped us.
That's nice.
But yeah, I did. That was my first job actually in Houston. I worked in this little restaurant as a busser. I think that job is like, it got me like a full life reality, you know, like because in Missouri I didn't work, you know. I was just like, okay, just I was worried about, in back of my head it was there, like I was not able to get a job. But then when I got to Houston, that my first job was like something like, oh my god, you know, like will I be able to do this? Like again, the second phase of anxiety hitting in.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah, I think that reminded me of something. So like you said, in Houston and then Texas, because I've seen Texas traffic. I didn't drive in Texas, you know. I got my license when before moving to California, but the first job that I got was at a food court, and you had to sample, you know, like you had to go out of your way to have people try. And in Texas, people are not nice, you know. And then because we didn't have a car, you know, like how people in Dallas, the DFW area, the Nepalese people, they offer rides and then you just give them cash. It's like kind of they're hustling, right? So it's like their small business. And I really appreciated the brothers, Dais, that gave you rides. And that really helped, you know, like, because I think there were like 2-3 friends, and then we would split the money. So it was like kind of cheaper. But some days you had to Uber, and Uber was like expensive back then compared to the pay rate that we got. So yeah, that just reminded me that there were like brothers or Nepalese people, you know, offering rides and just willing to help you out, you know. Yeah, but that's so true that you need to do uncomfortable stuff, because if we hadn't, you know, gotten that job back then we would not be here now. You have to start somewhere. Like no matter what, you just have to start. I think that's what we're trying to say. So, out of all the anxiety, right? So how do you think, like, what are some ways that, like, you learn from your own experience that might help other people to, like, deal with their anxiety? So I feel like I did not do, like, you know, meditation, yoga, journaling back then. when I was in Texas, and because we were living with like other people, and it was kind of hard getting your personal space. But then I started incorporating like 5-minute, 10-minute meditation, like doing short yoga to help clear up my mind. And I think that's where you should start. Like spending time with yourself and like really tapping into your intuition. Like, and even if when you're anxious, like you do like breathing exercise, that also helps. Like that helps you calm your mind down, because your mind is telling you a lot of things. So if you just breathe and then feel, I found this exercise on TikTok. So if you're like overthinking about anything, if you're anxious about a certain event in the future, then what you do is just breathe. Like breathe in, breathe out, like feel your toes, feel your fingers. That brings you back to your body. So I've been doing that, and then it really helps. So that's one practice that I would highly recommend. But yeah, coming back to the breathing, it's all where your body is. And I heard that if you feel your body, then your mind won't think about stuff. If you smell, like, so that's why aromatherapy is so popular, right? So I just burn sage, like clear the negative energy in my house, meditation, journaling. And I know like sometimes I'm lazy to like sit down and physically write, so I just like voice note, save it, and then like take notes on my phone, and that helps too. But once in a while, it doesn't help. It does help to just like sit down and then physically write your thoughts. Just let it out. You don't have to worry about the grammar or anything. I mean, I write in Nepali too, so
I mean,
broken English.
You just write for you. It's not like to show everybody or like to post it somewhere. I mean, if you want to, you certainly can, but we're just saying like to do something for yourself. Right?
No judgment. Right?
And I think like the next way that I do myself is like validating your emotions. Like sometimes you're feeling sad. It's okay to feel sad. You don't have to like cover it up with something else, and then trying to think like watching, like, let's say if you're sad, you're trying to watch a funny movie just to like just to like try to forget that you're sad. That is not validating your emotions, and I feel like it's gonna, in the long run, it's gonna like bring you more down. And then what I'm trying to say is, I feel like you just need to feel what you feel at the moment. Just like
sit with
feel
your
it,
emotions,
like
right?
feel it, like just give yourself a chance to like acknowledge it, like what's happening, validate yourself. You don't always need someone else to tell you that, hey, you're sad, it's okay to be sad. No, tell yourself, and then just deal with it for the time being.
That's so true. And like in our hustle culture, like people say, if you're sad, you should be like grateful for all this stuff, and there's kind of like toxic positivity, and I don't like. And I was that person, I was like, oh yeah, like you're sad, why are you sad? Just be grateful that you're here. But now I'm more like, thank you for saying that, because when you're sad, angry, upset, you need to sit with your emotions. And I think that's something that's been enrooted from like a small age, because when I'm babysitting, sometimes, I don't do this. I try to, like put myself in their shoes and then think like, oh, if the kid is upset, it's okay to be upset. I try to rewire his thoughts and just ask him, why you're upset. And I wish like someone had done that to me when we were young, but it's not too late to unlearn those things, right? So, that's a really good emotional hack.
I agree. There have been like a couple times, like when we're upset too, like I tell you, and they'd be like, just cry it out. So I think that is actually, they actually mean it. Like you should just cry it out. I'm not trying to say like get over it, but it's gonna help you. Like it's not gonna be like, oh, there's something stuck in there, I have to let it out, I'm just waiting for the right moment. There's no right moment. Like just do it at the moment, so that it doesn't like carry away with you. Can I share something? I know, like, I don't think I've shared this with anyone, but so when I was in Texas, I was working at like this insurance company, and I was at OPT, like I took a year gap after my community college, and then after that I moved to California. But then, like you said, I was so sad. I was upset with where I was. I didn't have a car, and then I was looking to buy a car, and then it didn't work out. And one day I was feeling so upset, and not in a good place mentally, And I was not the person I am now. I kept things with myself. Like I didn't share anything with my roommates or friends, and I didn't talk to my parents back home. I was really
like living in my own space, like work home. I was working 7 days a week, and then I think my boss, he knew something was up, and he asked me what was happening. And I cried. I broke down. Oh my god, that was so sad, and I don't know. And then he was like, okay, just he was really nice, boss. So I went to the bathroom, and then I broke down again, and then he told me to take some time.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
But yeah, that was really, I don't know. That's what I wanted to share, because when you don't let your emotions out, you just find a support system when you moved to California,
So my biggest support system here would be my aunt. She's been here for a very long time, and most of the people I know today is going to be because of her. And partially also, I would say the community college that I went to, I do have a couple of friends from there. I learned a lot. And the other one would be like from my jobs. So those are like the people that helped me to become who I am today. I met a lot of nice people who I have like so good relationship with. Every time I need something, they're there. Every time they need something, I'm there. But I also met those people who are not very supportive. There's very ups and downs everywhere you go. But yeah, that's one of also this section. What about you?
I think that's the same thing with me too. Like, I have been very mindful of who I let in my life. And then it took me saying no to like certain people, and then just realizing what my values are, and just like setting boundaries for myself, like in relationships. And then, because like you said, some people are not supportive of like what you're doing, and that's okay. You're not for everyone. So I'm grateful for the people that I have in my life, and also like cherishing the relationship. Like I talk to my parents more often, and then I'm more open to them about it, like my situation here. So that's been really helpful.
Also, like with America being so big with connections, how do you deal with like new connections? Like for me, I'm like we're not like the most open people, which we're still learning. It's good to be open, but something that we need to also learn. But like, how do you cope with new connections? Like, how do you build your relationship?
Because sometimes when you build a new connection, it can kind of be dry, because I've had a couple of people like I connect with, but then you don't talk to them for a long time, and then they pop back into your life. But yes, I try to just see it as a way of how we can add, value to each other. And to see if like we really vibe, like first meeting, second meeting. But I have not like gone out to social events, that much, and just because everything is virtual these days. But I would definitely love to like meet new people, and then we can build those like old friendships,
Same.
Right. Just to because we miss that craving, and I feel like everyone is like busy with their lives, so it's kind of hard to like come with a date that works for all of us. Like we try to
You love this day.
You love this day, and then we have our personal life going on, like sometimes work events and stuff.
And I think like also the movies and everything that we see, what's going on around, that makes us feel like, oh, you might not be able to trust this person. Like you're hesitant to meet like a new person. Right? Like you don't know what they're gonna think, what they're gonna do. World, like mom always said, like world's a scary place, blah blah blah. So that also plays like a very big role in how I let new connection in. It's been a very long time, I think, like I have any new connection. No, you just had it in your
me.
But I think like you just have to be a little bit open. See if your values match with each other. I guess like it's okay to fall out with the connections as well. Some people work out, some people do not work out. But I don't think it's like such a big deal. But well, in your end, at least, I think the least you can do is like be open about it, and then be also open to like accept their values as well, rather than just like putting out what you're looking for. Also, have to like be like a common ground.
That's true. So like my question to you is like if you are in like let's say you're at a networking event, and then how would you, start a conversation with someone who's not in your culture? Like at a work event or like commingling event, anything. If you're meeting like a new guy friend, girlfriend, whatever.
So I actually like learning about other cultures too. That if somebody's from like a different country, I'd just be like, hey, like you're from this country, like can you tell me something about like something fascinating about your country that we don't know, I think those type of conversations that help a lot to let them. They'll start telling about their families, what they do, and then when I share my thing, and then like we just like, oh, it looks like this is common, this is different, I think that's how I do it. Like for example, at work, well, not my current work, my previous work, I have this coworker from Afghanistan, and she used to bring a different kind of food, and then like like every country's food smells and tastes different. So every time we go to a break room, we could smell like something very delicious, but not something that we commonly know. So I would just like, I asked her, I'm like, hey, what is that? And she goes, oh, this is a very popular dish from Afghanistan. That's how we like. Now we're like actually really good friends.
Yeah, that's really nice. Exactly.
What do you do? Do you have any like suggestions or like how do you start your?
Yeah, kind of
like icebreaker.
Yeah, kind of like what you said. I am normally like awkward, but then after the festival, like it's kind of you talk with each other, and then something comes up, and then you're like, oh, I know about that. So we kind of go off of like what the other person says. Like I met one of my friends through Instagram, and then she's a K-pop fan, and I am a K-pop fan. So like we kind of hit it off, even though I'm not like a huge K-pop fan, I don't follow up with, but then that was the icebreaker for us. Oh, you have the similar interests, I have, the same thing too. So like, let's meet up, let's hang out, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, do you think like the friends and family would help with anxiety that people have, like when you go to a new place? Do you think knowing people that's gonna like lower your anxiety, or
I feel
how do they play play a role in your anxiety?
I feel like there's pros and cons, right? It depends on what kind of.
Some people do give you anxiety, though.
Yeah, some people do give you anxiety. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, some people in your life, they are like, they're not good for you in a way, and that takes a lot to realize for them. Like family members, like friends. Some people are toxic, and then
Yeah.
But you have to be kind of like I said, set boundaries. Know your worth, and set boundaries like in relationships, like whether it's romantic or friendships, and then I think that will help. Yeah, you just have to know whom to let yourself in your life.
Yeah.
Because
So I think that the first person that you should let yourself out or like let yourself feel is you.
Yes.
It always starts with you, so that's something to keep in mind.
True. And then I feel like. Back then when I was in Nepal, I thought, oh, the more friends I have, the more I'll be secure, But here, it's more of an idea of like having a small, tight-knit group, where you can be vulnerable and share like your feelings, emotions, and just find that safe space to be you.
Yeah.
So yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, to summarize, anxiety do play a very big role in your mental health. It's a very well-known subject that just nobody talks about, but it's very common, and then it's okay to have anxiety. It's just that you need to know how to deal with your anxiety. Everybody has their own special way on how they do it. Those are just some of our experiences on how we share, or like how we deal with it. It might be helpful to you, it might not be. If you don't do what we do, maybe give it a shot. That might give you that might help you a little bit too.
Yeah, everyone's experience is different, right? And it doesn't mean that if you experience anxiety, you're not in a mentally good place.
Yeah, you're not weak.
Yeah, you're not weak. You're strong, and we know like you can get it to the other side with the help of your friends, family, support system, and like we are here to support you. That's why we are doing this to share you resources, for your mental well-being. Because a lot of people in America or like abroad don't realize and don't know how to take care of themselves mentally. And then it plays a part, like physically, emotionally. So it really pays off to take care of your mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. Also, like it's easier said than done.
Yes.
But always try to be in your present state. I know future is always there. The past is past. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot dwell on it. That's not going to change anything. Same for the future. Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, if it's going to happen, it is going to happen.
Yeah.
So might as well just be present. Be in your present emotion. Let yourself feel. It's okay to feel the way that you feel, you know. If nobody said that to you today, then there you go.
Yeah, this is a reminder. And do, share, like, comment, subscribe, and just drop some mental health wellness tips that you guys follow in your life. And then yes, I hope you share this with a friend as a reminder and with your loved ones. And I hope you take care of yourself. Take a deep breath in and out, to remind yourself of your strength, and we're always here for you. Yeah. Also, if you have any like the specific, like different ways on how to deal with your anxiety, just drop it in there. We might give it a shot. Who knows? That might be the best thing we heard. Yeah, exactly. It's all about sharing.
Yeah.